So to start off, I'm going to give a little bit of background, excuse me, on why we started this in the first place. So in the 1980s to the 1990s, all states started new transfer laws that allowed for the prosecution of juveniles in adult courts. And this was because there was an insane amount of increase in youth violence, and that included violence and gang activity, that included murder, rape, and people that were under 18. So that's why these laws spiked. So there is a need for this. Most states have a minimum age now of 16, so it isn't like there's a bunch of influx of 10-year-olds going into jails. And at this age, this is when mental health problems arise. So in response to your significance claim about the solvency claim that kids can change for the better in juvenile prisons, there's actually evidence that says that 53% of youth incarcerated in facilities, juvenile facilities that do not provide mental health evaluations at all. Among these youth with documented mental health issues that are incarcerated in residential placement facilities, 47% have not even met with a counselor. So these juvenile facilities are not fit to handle these mentally unwell children. Their actual problems are not being addressed. Rather, they're just sitting in there and waiting to get out, becoming adults, and becoming more violent in the future. Going back to the increase in the 1990s, ever since those laws were set in place, juvenile crime has been on decline. According to futureworking.com, there's an article that stated, according to the website of Office in Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, data gathered from 1996 to 2014, which is when these laws spiked, shows a 65% decrease in the number of juvenile crimes committed by adolescents aged 10 to 17. Further than that, we have arrest rates that were gathered from the juvenile justice system. Arrest rates decreased 24% for public drunkenness, 27% for driving under the influence, 8% for vandalism, 9% for murder, and 27% for rape, 50% for motor vehicle theft. So ever since these laws spiked, juvenile violence has drastically gone down, and that's just proving that we have this need for them to be incarcerated as adults. It's deterrent ultimately, and as for your claim that it has a negative impact, there's actually a federal law set in place that states that youth transferred from juvenile facilities to the adult system must be separated by sight and sound from adult inmates. So there is a conscious effort being made in adult prisons today that separates the youth from the adults, trying to deter this ongoing violence. Further than that, statistics gathered from 2005 to 2009 show that an average of 5,700 juveniles were held as adults in prisons. That's less than 1%. So we aren't having like this insane amount of children that are in prisons, and we're not having an insane amount of children in prisons, and it's only cases that are really analyzed and are sent to courts that are felt the need that these children need to be held in more responsible areas. Thank you.